Frenkie de Jong. Let's talk about Barcelona in today's video. Let's talk about the situation of Frenkie de Jong. How is this going to be working out? And is it going to be working out? I think that's the most important question. Will this Frenkie saga continue at Barcelona? And does he have a future at Barcelona? Let's talk about how he can play, because he's been back now. He's come back from now. He's healthy. But is he going to be playing? In today's video, I will pretty much go through the lineups and go through the different combinations of lineups and to see, and we can make a decision towards the end of the video whether he actually has a place in today's in Barcelona's lineup. Before I start, as always, you guys already know, don't forget to like the video right now. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. There is at the moment 63% of you guys watching and not subscribing, and most of it is you Barcelona fans. So if you guys enjoy the content I'm doing, the unbiased content, why the hell are you not subscribed? Subscribe! And of course, comment your own thoughts as well. Comment your own thoughts, what you agree. I mean, do you agree with what I'm saying? Well, what I'm about to say. What I'm about to say. Do you agree with what I'm about to say? And do you have any other perspectives on the matter? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Then, let's talk about the lineups. Barcelona. I look at this lineup. Of course, this season they've played strictly, and most of the time, 90% of the time, they've played the 4-2-3-1. I look at all of those positions. Doesn't matter. The goalkeeper doesn't matter. The backline doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Hence the reason why I've got 4 different lineups, as you guys can see right here. 4 different lineups, as you guys can see right here. The first lineup is the one that has pretty much been the success before Dani Olmo went down. Is, of course, the pivot of Casado, Pedri, who 2 different profiles, 2 different unique profiles. You've got natural 6 here. You've got an 8 in Pedri, who's now adapting to the double pivot. And of course, you've got Dani Olmo, who's pretty much shining. And of course, the injury, once he comes back from the injury, I'm sure he's going to reclaim his position. So at the moment, this is one of Barcelona's main starting 11. Then we have a look. Before Olmo comes back, we have Fermín López. Fermín López has done a very good job with Barcelona and has done a very good job with Spain, the Olympics, when he plays in an advanced position. I think last season, you saw Fermín López pretty much all over the place. One time you saw him playing on the left-hand side. One time you saw him play on the right-hand side. Sometimes you see him pretty much moving around the false 9 position. And sometimes you see him very deep. If you ask me what is his natural position and how you can get the best of Fermín López, I think the 8 position, but I do think him behind the striker. Him right here to win the second balls. Pretty much what Gundogan did very well at City before he left to go to Barcelona. Just him roaming around here, helping the striker, winning the second balls. I think he's got a smell. He's got a smell for the goal, and he loves scoring goals. So I think right here, Fermín López right here, I think you can get the best of Fermín López. And this is where I think his natural position is. And I think him and Olmo, I do believe, of course, at the moment it's Pablo Torre. But I do think Fermín López will be the one replacing Olmo every now and then. Maybe rest him every now and then. Coming off the bench, I think Fermín López is quite good in this position. So at the moment, these 2 hasn't changed. So the first lineup, Casado and Pedri is still the same. The second lineup, Casado and Pedri, is still the same. The third lineup is, of course, with the arrival of Gavi, who should be back, I believe, from what I'm hearing, next month. At the moment, he's training, but of course, he's been out for a year. So I think at the moment, he's still trying to get match fitness, match sharpness. And I think next month, he will be returning to Barcelona. When he returns to Barcelona, he will pretty much be replacing Casado in that lineup. So it'll be Casado and it'll be Pedri. Gavi is pretty much, like I said, I've been saying it. I don't know if you guys have been watching. I think one of the reviews that I did, either my last Barcelona review or the one before, I basically said Casado is, in my opinion, a semi-version of Gavi. I look at Casado and I look at Gavi. They're both tenacious. They're both hungry for the ball. They fight for the ball. They fight for every duel. they pretty much won the ball. And even going forward, of course, Gavi has got a bit more technical aspect about him going forward, just because the fact Gavi played under Xavi, he played pretty much more advanced. He was playing pretty much as a left winger, as a right winger, so he's pretty much got that. Casado, this is his first pretty much debut season, so he doesn't have that really that little going forward about him. He doesn't have that killer instinct going about him, whereas Gavi does. So I think when Gavi comes back, it will be the lineup of Gavi and Pedri pretty much as a pivot, and I do think both of them together. You might say, oh, well, they played together and they had that little pivot, or maybe played in the same midfield under Xavi and didn't work out, and under Koeman and this and that. I don't think so, because I think the system under Xavi is very different to the system under Hansi Flick. I do think, if you ask me, would Gavi and Pedri play under Xavi, I'll look at you and say, nah. Too open. It's not going to work out. Nah. But in football, system matters. In football, tactics matter. In football, you have to have an idea. And I think the way Hansi Flick is and his system at the moment, it will allow both of these two to excel in their position and to play well together, which is something they've done glimpses of it, but they haven't done it as a unit next to each other. And I think Hansi Flick will allow that from what I'm seeing so far from his system. If he's allowing Casado and Pedri, I'm sure he will allow Gavi and Pedri to pretty much do that thing as well. Then you can pretty much ask, all right, cool. Let's say you go to Etihad. Let's say you go to Santiago Bernabeu. Let's say you go to Allianz Arena, a ground which Barcelona has got a lot of history in. Maybe you have to go to where? San Siro against Inter. Emirates against Arsenal. Let's say you go to those tough away grounds. Are you still going to be lining up with either this or this? Because again, we don't know what the injury situation with Gavi. Coming from an ACL, it's never easy. And you don't expect anyone to pretty much, boom, get it going straight away after coming back with an ACL. The last two people that has performed well after coming up with a very lengthy injury is Militao. But Militao, when he came back last season in April, he was still trying to get match fitness. You didn't see the real version of Militao last season. You're now seeing it this season, where Militao is back. Van Dijk, when he was out with that long injury, he came back. People were saying he's finished. He's done. He's nowhere. He's not the centre-back that he used to be. Last season, he produced one of the best centre-back displays, in my opinion, in the world. He was a top 3 centre-backs in the world last season. And this season, they've only conceded 2 goals. Most of it comes down to him and Konate, but Van Dijk this season, incredible as well. So I think those 2 players comes to mind who's recovered, but it took them a little bit of time to recover. It might be the same to Gavi. Don't expect Gavi to pretty much come in November and perform what he was before he got injured. Because I can't lie. I'm going to put my agendas aside. I'm going to put my hatred aside to Barcelona. I'm not really a fan of Gavi at the same time. But I can't deny, before he got injured, that little stretch between August and December. November. He got injured in November in the international break. That August-November little period, that 3 months period, Gavi was playing on a sensational form, bro. He was Barcelona's best midfielder, most important midfielder. He was carrying Barcelona, So I think, don't expect him. I do think he will get maybe a little game there and there. I think this will be the consistent 3 come February, March. Once he gets his match fitness, coming off the bench, this and that. I do think we'll see more of that going forward. However, once Gavi gets his match fitness, and let's say, like I said, let's go back to what I was going to say. You to away ground, tough away ground. Are you going to be playing that midfield? Do you think those 3 in that position is enough defensively to go up against one of the biggest teams in the world? I think Hansi Flick might maybe rotate into a team like this. Casado in the pivot, natural 6, and you've got Gavi and Pedri in the 8. Both of them are very, they can do it going forward at a good level, and both of them can pretty much cover defensively. So I think a midfield of Casado, Gavi, and Pedri could be a midfield that I anticipate Again, by the way, this is all a prediction video. This is all me assuming things and seeing how Barcelona's played this season, and me pretty much putting the pieces together. And yeah, like I said, I'm playing chess here. I'm playing chess. I might get checkmated, but I don't think I will. I do think we'll see this kind of midfield in most of the big games when Barcelona play. I do think that midfield, balance-wise, I look at it, is perfect. System-wise, it's perfect. You've got defensive help, cover, in pretty much Casado and Gavi. And you've got the ability to control the midfield. And all three of them, especially these two, and especially this guy, who's a cheat code in controlling midfield. And you've got pretty much the ability of Gavi moving. He's been doing it when he played left winger. He's got the ability to pretty much run around the defense. You've got the Gavi that can pretty much ball carry, and Pedro as well. So I do think that's a good midfield. All of those lineups, if you guys realize, does not consist of one person. And this is the main talking point of today's video. And that is Frenkie de Jong. You look at this lineup. Does Frenkie fit in this lineup? I don't think he does. Does Frenkie fit in this lineup? I don't think he does. I mean, you can say, well, he's a better player than Fermin. Okay, he is a better player than Fermin. But system-wise, can he do what Fermin does in that position? I don't think so. Hence the reason why I left the last lineup empty for us to decide. Because like I said, this position is covered, this is covered, this is covered. So the only three positions for Frenkie is the three-man midfield. Let's put Frenkie here for the time being. And now, let's see who can play next to him. The only lineup, again, I mean, you know what? Forget who can play next to him. You know what? Let me just delete this. Let me delete this. I'm looking at, that's only one lineup which I can see Frenkie fitting in. You've got this. If you replace Frenkie with Casado, let's just do this. Will this work out? No. Straight away, no. Nah. System-wise, no. System-wise, no. Balance-wise, no. So, this works much better than Frenkie and Pedri. Let's be honest. Frenkie's a better player than Casado, but Casado is a more defensive-minded. Casado is more willing defensively. And I think these two work much better, in my opinion, than Frenkie and Pedri. Forget Olmo. Frenkie can't do what Olmo does in that 10 position. So now this is done. This is out of the equation. Then you've got this one. Can he... Well, this really relates to this one. It relates to this one pretty much. But, so these two is pretty much the same. Then you've got this. Again, no. The only thing which I can see is if you change the formation from a 4-2-3-1 into a 4-3-3. And the only way which you can maybe say, well, we could potentially have a midfield if you replace Casado, put Frenkie in there. Frenkie had a half a season stretch. If you guys go back to Leverkusen, actually, you know what? Let me just have an empty one very quickly. Frenkie, best season. Again, he hasn't really had a better season than what he had. The last season he had... No, not the last season. The season before. The one that they made the Champions League semi-final. The one that beat Madrid and they lost to Spurs in the semi-final. It was Lasse Schön, I remember. Lasse Schön. Well, how do you spell his name? Schön? Yeah, him. Lasse Schön. Frenkie de Jong. And you had Van der Beek right here. Well, Van der Beek, actually no, it was Tadic was playing on the left-hand side. It was, you know what? It was Van der Beek, it was pretty much doing everything. No, Van der Beek. What's Beek? Van der Beek? Yeah, Van der Beek. And then Ziyech was here, if I remember correctly. Again, this is all from memory. It was Neres, as I remember. So they had a weird lineup where Neres was here, and these two would rotate all the time. Sometimes you will see Tadic playing as a false 9. Sometimes it was very midfield heavy, in my opinion. It was Neres and Neres thing. Frenkie de Jong, forget all of those players, yeah? Frenkie de Jong was playing the pivot. Sometimes it will change into this, where he will be the person pretty much progressing it. Hence the reason why I go back to this. Can he do this? If you look at a midfield of Frenkie, Pedri, Gavi, will this work out? On the Hansi Flick, this could potentially work out. Like I said, Xavi pretty much put everything into perspective, and how Xavi played and how you saw Xavi, the system of Xavi and the system on the Hansi Flick is two different systems. So if you ask me, can this work out on the Hansi Flick? The regime on the Hansi Flick potentially could work out. Potentially it will work out. My only problem with that, and like I said, this video, I'm basically giving tips to Barcelona, fam. Imagine me, a Madrid fan, telling you about your own team and what you should be doing, yeah? If you go to all of these positions, forget this now, to 1, 2, 3, you've got players that can play forward in Pedri and Gavi, Fermin, Casado, and Olmo. Frenkie, will this work out now? Nah. Gavi is not a person you can rely on in a lone pivot. Gavi in a double pivot, maybe he will work out. I don't think he'll work out. Because we're not talking about Frenkie from 4 years ago, 5 years ago. We're talking about Frenkie now. So the only way which I can see Frenkie working is this. But then it begs the question now. It begs the question. You look at Frenkie, yeah? You look at Frenkie's time now at Barcelona. You look at his time, and in my opinion, if I had to ask you right now, describe Frenkie's tenure and Frenkie's time with Barcelona in one word. One word. Describe his time in one word. What word would you use? The word, put down in the comments what word you would use amongst the other talking points that we're talking about the game. The word which I would use, in my opinion, underwhelming. Underwhelming. He's had what? He joined 1920, played 21 games. 2011, played 37 games. Following season, 32 games. The following season, 33 games. Last season, 20 games. Okay? 20 games. You look at those seasons, and again, I don't really look at this. I don't look at this. Yes, he's played over 215 games, 17 assists, 21 goals. It's not the best, but Frenkie is not the player that you expect from in terms of GAs. So I don't really look at this and say, wow, no GAs. He's been bad. It's not been bad. The only thing about Frenkie, he's had glimpses. He's never had the consistency. He's never had. You never, I think, last season he showed, Frenkie's there. The season before, I think he had a good stretch where he showed this is the real Frenkie, where he was playing the double pivot. He was playing the double pivot next to Busquets 2 years ago. On the Gundo, he was playing quite decent. You saw, all right, this is Frenkie now. But then got injured. And when we talk about his injury record, bro, every season he missed 17 games. Last season, apologies. He's missed over 23 games. 23 games. And this dates all, actually no, this is this season. This dates all from April. This is the same injury, the ankle injury, which has ruled him out for now 23 games. Then he had an ankle sprain. Then he had a knee injury. Then, look at him. His injury record is not the best. But I look at Frenkie's situation. And I really asked Barcelona, like, bro, this is the biggest thing about Frenkie. Look at how much you're paying him. You're paying him 365 per week. Look at where he is compared to everyone else. And again, this is the official, I don't know if you guys know, but this website pretty much gives you a very, very indication in terms of salaries, in terms of everything. Lewa is, of course, number one and everything. But look at Frenkie. You're paying him this much, bro. And he's above players like Pedri. Double of Pedri. Double of Olmo. Triple of Gavi. Who else? Casado, of course. I don't expect Casado to be on a crazy value. Look at Casado, bro. Again, that is a lot of money. I mean, to everyone here, me, you, everyone watching, crazy money. But if you're comparing it with this, bro, he's getting peanuts, Ak. He's getting peanuts. Fermin, peanuts. Like, and Bernal before he got injured, peanuts. I know Barcelona gave him an extension. You look at this, and it really begs the question. At the moment, Barcelona is going through this financial situation and everything. They're going through a financial situation with the wages and the salary and everything. I just ask, yeah. You look at this, and like I said, you can field 3 lineups, 4 lineups before I changed it here. 5 lineups if Bernal comes back. Fermin Lopez playing in a different position. You can pretty much build 5, 6, 7, 8 different lineups, which wouldn't consist of Frenkie de Jong. The best thing, in my opinion, for the future, the video is about what's the role of Frenkie de Jong in this Barcelona team. In my opinion, if Barcelona really showcase real institution, and if Hansi Flick really said to himself, you know what, I don't need this guy. I don't need him. And I really can afford to lose this. I really want to lose this. I think this is, if Frenkie was on 150, just a 50 or 100, you can say, you know what, with his talent, we can afford to have him. Yes, he's injured, but he's very talented. We can try to maybe move her on. But with those wages, those wages can be used to something better, which is getting a right winger. Yes, Rafinha's doing well, but not right winger, left winger. Yes, Rafinha's doing well, but is Rafinha left winger? You need to get Nico. Or you can say, you know what, with that wages, let me sign someone to help Bode. Someone to maybe help Bode on the left-hand side. Because at the moment, if Bode goes down, who am I going to replace? Jerry Martin? Fort? Yes, Fort can do it, but not to the level. Or let's fix the goalkeeping issue. Yes, Inaki Penny has been playing. No. Szczesny's coming back from retirement. He's not the same Szczesny. Ter Stegen, before he went down, he was horror. Maybe let's get an actual super goalkeeper. Or let's go and fix this situation. Yes, Lee was scoring goals, but that's not going to happen for a long time. Let's look at Haaland. Haaland might be available. Let's look at that. Getting rid of this, in my opinion, will be the biggest success in Frenkie de Jong's career at Barcelona. Because Frenkie de Jong's career at Barcelona, it's not going to go down as a success. It's not going to go down as a massive, massive achievement. It's just going to go down as the right word to use, honestly, is Really? That's what it's going to go down as. That's just my opinion. So getting rid of Frenkie de Jong, in my opinion, should be Barcelona's main priority for the wages, the injuries record, the game they're playing. You're not getting none of it, which reflects how much you're paying him. And at the same time, if I'm saying you don't have enough options to replace him, then I would say keep him. But you've got Pedri, Gavi, Olmo, Casado, Fermin, Bernal. Farfina can play as a 10. You've got options. Pablo Torre, Eric Garcia, you're seeing him. You've got so many options that can do what Frenkie does. Do you need him? That's the question. Do you need him? That's the question. Put down in the comments. If you guys disagree completely, then fair enough. Just tell me why in the comments. However, if you agree with me, shake my hands right now. Shake my hands right now, man. You know boo as well. But don't forget to like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. And like I said, I see a lot of people commenting, liking, but not subscribing. Just show some love to the channel, bro. Like I said, daily videos. I said it before the international duty started. I said it in my last review from Barcelona. And I said, yo, international break is here. 2 weeks. You might think that's no content. Bro, I'm giving you content every single day. Yesterday's video was top 10 DMs. Today's video, I'm talking about Frenkie de Jong. So I'm giving you Madrid, Dani Carvajal. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to be doing top 10 Madrid players. I might be doing top 10 Barcelona players for this season. I'm giving you content, bro. So why are you not showing love, man? But like I said, like, subscribe. I'll see you soon. Peace.